never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It's a Tuesday, and before I get into today's video, don't forget that coming up, not this weekend, but I believe it's next weekend, the first Sunday in November, when the time changes in most parts of the U.S. There are a few states that the time does not change, but for most people, it's coming up not this weekend, but next weekend, and that means here on the East Coast, it'll start getting dark right around 5:30 Eastern Daylight Time, which is really early. But on to today's video. Going to be talking about some NFL scores from this past weekend and of course last night in Monday Night Football. And then I've got some thoughts on the whole storming the field thing because of the whole situation that went down with the Alabama-Tennessee game. Not this past Saturday, but the previous Saturday. I didn't comment on it last week because I know a lot of people always freak out and think the worst and expect the worst immediately, soon after, right after. So I thought if I commented last week, people would think it was just something that came because of what happened. So I figured I would wait a while and go ahead and give you my comments today. And I'll do that right after we talk about some NFL football. Thursday night football last week, the Cardinals beat the Saints 42-34. The Ravens beat the Browns 23-20. The Panthers beat the Bucks 21-3. So the Panthers pretty much played their third string quarterback, and they fired their head coach, and they beat Tom Brady and the Bucks. The Bucks have now lost 2 straight games to 2 pitiful football teams. The Bucks and the Falcons are tied for that division lead at 3-4. And I tried to warn everybody that the Bucks coach that took over for Bruce Arians is not a head coach, and I think it's becoming abundantly clear he's not a head coach. Now I will say that in my personal humble opinion, Tom Brady is finally showing some signs of his age catching up to him. Nothing wrong with that. You can't play forever, but I do think a combination of the fact that Todd Bowles just can't coach and Tom Brady's age finally catching up to him, that the Bucks will probably still win the division because the division sucks, but somebody has to win it. They could probably go 9-8 and win the division, but I think it's clear that Tom Brady is finally slowing down and Todd Bowles can't coach. The Bengals beat the Falcons 35-17. The Cowboys beat the Lions 24-6. The Giants beat the Jaguars 23-17. The Commanders beat the Packers 23-21. And I continue to laugh at the Packers' struggles because we all know they had Devontae Adams, who is one of the best receivers in football. And he said he would have stayed last year if he could have got the money he wanted. He didn't ask for a lot compared to what most players want, but he wanted some money. And Aaron Rodgers acted like he couldn't make it on what he was making, even though he could. All Aaron Rodgers had to do was stay where he was or do what Tom Brady always did and take a pay cut, and Davante Adams would have stayed. But instead, Aaron Rodgers demanded a raise in order to stay in Green Bay, and they said, well, if we give you a raise, Davante's going to leave. Aaron Rodgers didn't care. He wanted a raise anyway. He got his raise. Davante leaves, and now the Packers suck. And Aaron Rodgers is whining about wide receivers when it's your own dadgum fault because you're an overpaid, selfish, egotistical butthole. Aaron Rodgers, I've said it before, is the most talented quarterback that's ever played the position. But he is absolutely clueless on how to be a teammate. I have never, in all my Holborn days, as long as he's played, heard one teammate say anything good about Aaron Rodgers. You want to know why he don't win? That's why he don't win. The Titans beat the Colts by the score of 19-10. And in case you have not heard, Frank Reich has decided that the Colts are going to make a quarterback change and bench Matt Ryan and put in Sam Ehlinger, or as some say, Sam Ehlinger. Of course, he played for Texas in college. Now, the third string quarterback is Nick Foles. And if you're a longtime NFL viewer, you know that Nick Foles has been around for a while. But when Nick Foles comes off the bench, he's a great quarterback. But when Nick Foles is a starter and goes into the season as a starter, he struggles. But now he's third string, and they've benched Ryan for Ehlinger. If they bench Ehlinger and Nick Foles plays, the Colts win the Super Bowl. The Raiders beat the Texans by the score of 38-20. The Jets over the Broncos 16-9. The Chiefs over the 49ers 44-23. The Seahawks over the Chargers 37-23. The Dolphins beat the Steelers 16-10 on Sunday night football. And then last night on Monday night football, the Bears beat the Patriots 33-14. So we're already 7 weeks into the 18-week NFL season. So 2 more weeks and we'll be halfway through the regular season. But if you have any thoughts on the whole storming the field thing, please feel free to let me know. You know, they've been trying to outlaw it for a long time, and most teams now in college football actually discourage it and tell you not to do it. And of course, you get some kind of fine when you do it. But honestly, really, truly, you really can't completely 100% totally stop it. There's just no way that 25, 30 security guards are going to stop 85,000 fans. You just can't do it. All you really can do is fine them and tell them, hey, if you do it, we're going to fine you this much, which Tennessee knew that going into the Alabama game. They were told, hey, if you win and you storm the field, you're going to get fined. So Tennessee already put the money back ahead of time to pay the fine because they knew that if they won the game, they were going to charge the field. But most places now do discourage it. Now, there's a lot of idiots that still try to make a big deal out of the fact that Clemson does it after every game. But if Clemson plays Wofford, they're going to storm the field. It's what they do. But they don't get fined for it. Most people that have an IQ above 25 don't even talk about it because anybody that watches football knows by now that Clemson storms the field after every single game. It does not matter what time the game is. It does not matter who they play. They're going to storm the field. So if you're ever watching the Clemson game with anybody and Clemson wins and they storm the field and the person says, what are they doing? Punch them in the eye. Because if you don't know by now that they do that every game, you have never watched college football in your life. But Clemson does it where they control themselves and nobody gets out of hand, and that's why they're allowed to do it. They don't get fined for it. They don't get penalized for it because when they do it, nothing stupid happens. They have smart fans, unlike most college football teams. But the whole thing at Tennessee has blown out of proportion. But the sad thing is, the first thing that crossed my mind when it happened with the Alabama player was, man, that sounds like something you'd see at a Georgia game. Then it hit me. Oh, right, that's right. He played for Georgia. So then it made sense. And the next thing that crossed my mind is the fact that I can't figure out why Jermaine Burton does this and absolutely nothing happens. He even played this past Saturday in their game against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. You would think if something like this happened, you would at least get a 1-game suspension, a 2-game suspension, something. He didn't get anything. And what's worse is nothing's happened. And you've got millions and millions and millions of people, especially women, all around the world that are always speaking out against men hitting women and how it's wrong for a man to hit a woman. But then all of a sudden, when a Bama player does it, not one of them has said a cotton-picking thing. And these are the kind of things that when you hear about them and see about them, you know why the people that hate Alabama hate Alabama. It's like they get special treatment. You've got men all around the world that are always, always, always getting in trouble for things like this. And Jermaine Burton does it and nothing gets said. And the saddest part was when Nick Saban got asked about it, he says he was scared. If you're scared of a 105-pound woman that's just casually, gingerly, innocently walking, you have no business playing football. You need to be in a dark room by yourself, because there was nothing scary about the woman. The way she was walking, the way she looked, the way she was dressed, nothing. So it's sad that that's Nick Saban's response, and he doesn't get criticized. Jermaine Burton does it, and he doesn't get criticized. But I guarantee you, if it would have been a Tennessee player hitting a Bama fan, it would be all over the presses, all around the world. People still be talking about it. But instead, since it was a Bama player to a Tennessee fan, nothing has been said. It's like, no big deal. Oh, well, he didn't get fined. He didn't get suspended. He didn't get no charges pressed on him. And I honestly, really, truly don't understand it. But I don't like the whole storming the field thing. But like I said earlier, you really can't stop it. There's just no way that few amount of security guards is going to stop all those fans. And you can find the coach, you can find the university, you can find the AD, find whoever you want to, but if a team plays a home game and they play a highly ranked team and they win, they're going to storm the field. You really can't stop them. And things like this shouldn't happen, but if and when they do happen, something should be done. And Alabama shouldn't get preferential treatment where they're allowed to do stuff that nobody else is allowed to do. I don't know why that happens. I don't know how that happens. Don't understand how it happens. But for some reason, Bama can do things that nobody else can do. So if you have any thoughts on this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What do you call a poor Santa Claus? Saint Nicholas. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.